We're sliding into 2024 with an all-new collection of crashes captured on Seattle's traffic cameras. We have all the crashes you've come to know and love, including red light crashes, rear end crashes, and the always popular left turn crashes. We also have a crash that's not yet been featured on this channel before. Keep an eye on this SUV. They're about to make a left turn despite having a red arrow, which proves to be a poor decision. Now, luckily for them, this was a pretty glancing blow, and they were actually able to drive their SUV into the parking lot of a nearby business. There were no injuries to the driver or anybody on the light rail train. Speaking of ill-timed turns, this driver is going to make a right turn from the left turn lane directly into the path of another vehicle. Now, we captured this one on 2 different traffic cameras. As you can see, the vehicle going straight has a green light, and they were not expecting another car to suddenly appear in their path. Now, this driver on the right side of your screen is going to turn left from the right lane, and as they're trying to figure out how to do that, they forget to yield to oncoming traffic, resulting in another left turn crash. Not the first one we've seen at this intersection. I'm not sure what happened here, but this car is going to hit the van and then go head on into this sedan. It looks like they may have been trying to turn left, possibly going too fast. And speaking of turning left, here we have the always popular left turn through stopped traffic directly into the path of an oncoming vehicle. Now, if crossing one line of traffic is not exciting enough for you, this pickup truck is going to try 7 in one go. Spoiler alert, they're not going to make it, and they end up involving 2 innocent vehicles in that crash. Now, this vehicle is only trying to cross 4 lanes of traffic, but they forgot to look before going, and they get T-boned pretty hard from a vehicle that should have been easy to see. And if you like those inexplicable driving decisions, here's another one. Watch this stationary pair of headlights. They're about to gun it, pick up some pretty good speed, blow through the red light, and hit a tree. They actually ended up trapped inside the vehicle, but Seattle Fire was able to free them, and there were no serious injuries reported. No idea what, if anything, was going through their head. Now, at the same intersection, we have another red light runner. This one seems to be on the brakes, but for whatever reason, they go through the red light and T-bone a Volvo. Got this from 2 different angles yet again. This angle showing that it was a pretty hard impact as that car gets spun around to the side, and that is not a light vehicle. We have a lot of red light runners in the collection today. Another hard impact there. Hard to tell exactly who had the red light, but someone did. Bottom of your screen here, several cars, one of them spinning out after what looked to be running a red light. On the top of your screen, there's a train. Trains are cool. Bottom of your screen here, a little hard to see, but a car running a red light gets nailed by a bus. And one more at the bottom of your screen, yet again, a red light runner T-boned in the intersection. Now, I'm starting this clip with a time lapse. I want you to see just how long this traffic light was green before this white car blew their red light and collided with an innocent driver in the intersection. Now, the people in the red light running car are going to get out and flee. I later saw on Twitter that this was a stolen car. It was a Kia or a Hyundai. And the car thieves fled on foot after the crash. Now, in the middle of your screen here, we have an SUV. It's going to go left of center on the Ballard Bridge. They sideswipe another car, almost hit a school bus head on, and they don't even stop. They're going to flee the scene, exiting off the bridge onto Leary. North Seattle here, we have a car stopped at the red light. They get hit pretty hard from behind. And unfortunately, what this clip has in common with the last few clips that we featured, the driver of the causing vehicle is going to get out, walk around a little bit, and then get into this van that pulled up behind him and flee the scene in the van. Now, the driver that we're about to see here is a juvenile in an SUV that was carjacked at gunpoint. They're about to blow through a red light with zero regard for the lives of anybody else on the road. Watch the top of your screen. That's high speed through a red light. We did get that from another camera as well. Now, this carjacker is about to meet karma because about 20 seconds after this clip, they ran another red light right into the side of a semi-truck. We're going to zoom that in for you a little bit here. They smashed directly into a truck. Thankfully, the semi-truck driver had only minor injuries. Unfortunately for the carjacker, but probably fortunately for society, they were trapped inside the vehicle. The vehicle then caught fire. Now, they did live. Seattle Fire responded as a rescue extrication call. They extinguished the fire and got the driver out of the stolen SUV. But that driver was transported to the hospital with critical injuries, and I have not heard any update on their condition to date. Update to date. Moving on. Now, the headlights you see at the top of your screen is a vehicle that's going to be attempting to parallel park. The keyword here is going to be attempting because it does not go well at all. We're going to zoom in for a slightly better look here. Now, I don't claim to be a perfect parker. Sometimes I'm a little bit far from the curve, but I can say that I have never done this. It looks like they may have mixed up the gas and the brake. They ended up hitting the vehicle behind them and pushing it all the way out into the street before fleeing the scene because they are bad people. Left behind them, unfortunately, a Volkswagen Beetle that's probably totaled through no fault of its own. R.I.P. We're going to move now to Aurora Avenue. Watch this car in the far right lane. This is a kind of combination bus lane, turn lane, and parking lane. The car hits the brakes, so we know the driver's not asleep, but they also don't seem to be watching what's directly ahead of them. They're going to smash into a parked van, which catapults them right into the main lanes of Aurora Avenue. Now, it's hard to tell if any other vehicles were involved. Let's watch that again a little bit zoomed in. That is a solid impact right into the main travel lanes. This one could have been a lot worse. Moving on, you're going to watch the bottom left corner of your screen. In this next clip, we have a pedestrian running out of the road. We're going to see what he's running from in just a second if you keep watching that bottom left corner. Vehicle veering across all lanes, taking out a sign into a building, and then knocking over a scooter before finally coming to a stop. Speaking of things that could have been a lot worse, very glad there were no pedestrians on that sidewalk. But really, there's nothing to make a Grinch out of you during the holiday season like seeing a totally out-of-control driver. Unsure if this was somebody under the influence or if this was a medical issue, but astounding. Next up, a few lane changes. If you watch the dashed lines in the center of the screen, you can see that they go off to the side, but this taxi coming up the hill does not follow its lane markings and sideswipes another vehicle. We'll go ahead, stop, turn on our hazards of shame, and block the lane entirely. Now, this silver car is going to turn all the way into the far right lane before deciding they'd rather be on the left. So they're going to go ahead and do that, even though there's a car in the way, and we've got minor contact made there. Now, there's nothing like wet roads and Seattle drivers. Here's one making a turn at high speed and not quite making it. RIP light pole, RIP car. Thankfully, no other people or vehicles involved. Now, the only thing better than wet roads is wet drawbridges, and we have a pair of crashes here. Watch the center of your screen where a vehicle coming in a little bit too hot is not going to be able to stop on that drawbridge grading, leading to a multi-vehicle rear-end collision. This is on the University Bridge. And here's another on that same bridge. Watch right behind this green light for a car with no headlights, but that does have a turn signal on. They're going to lose control again as soon as they hit the middle of that bridge and spin out. And it should not surprise anybody that the driver and passengers of this vehicle are just going to get out and run. That's going to bring us to our final clip of the night, where we have a car running a red light at fairly low speed. This is back at the same intersection where we've seen a few other clips. Anyway, this car is going to go into a tree. Now, initially I thought this might have been a medical issue, but as we're about to see, that does not appear to be the case. So we're speeding it up here. We have some people coming from across the street. They meet up with the driver of the car. The driver kind of goes back and forth a little bit and then runs up the hill following those people and disappears into the woods. All right, that's it for this week. As always, please put down your phones, pay attention to driving, and thank you for watching.